Hello everybody, and this is Dave from Double Edge Racing again. Today we are going to be covering portions of the steering in this tools, tips, tricks, and techniques video. So the first thing I'm going to go jump into is this right on the end here, and we'll make it nice and easy for you to see. It is a common thing for people to say, hey, I've got this problem, it's rubbing up here with the screw. Now first off, if you're running all of the different washers in there, you're probably not going to have this problem. You're definitely not going to have this problem once you put the link on and have it adjusted semi-reasonably. But under stress, or if you don't have all of the links in, this screw can actually end up rubbing on the arm. So there are many ways that you can take care of that. On the 8th scale vehicles, such as the Truggy and the Buggy, it's easy to just make sure that you always have enough of the washers in place. If you don't want them underneath to adjust your bump steer, you can put them on top. It stores them, keeps them easy in a place, and it's not a problem. On something like the short course vehicles, though, having that length of screw can become a problem where the inside of the wheel will actually rub on and start to take off the metal on this. The solution for that, especially if you're not using all of the washers, which we usually don't in something like the short course, is to use a button head screw that is slightly shorter so that you don't have the threads sticking out the bottom. Now, a common practice in 8th scale to make this easier, and again where it doesn't matter because you have a much larger inner diameter on the wheel, is instead of doing it that way, to do it the opposite direction, such that you put the screw up through this way, and that way it's always flush, always flat, and anything that sticks out the top isn't going to matter because your wheel is far enough away that it's not going to hit it. Now on something, this is again the same kind of screw area where you've got a screw coming up and sticking up the top. Now especially if you're in this back hole, but really all the time, if you remove these washers in here and you're not using them for bump steer, it is important to either use a shorter screw so that you don't end up with the screw sticking up and rubbing on this plate, or to put the washers on the bottom where all they're doing is sitting there and making sure the screw doesn't go in far enough and being available for the next time you want to change your bump steer. That being said, there is also one other thing to cover in this steering area, and that is for this piece here that sits on top as a brace. On some, but not all, of the vehicles, you can end up in a place where the Ackerman bar itself, as you see here, can actually have this edge rub on the support braces. So this is just a quick shot here. I have gone and cut off one side. I've used a knife, but most people will use a Dremel because it's easier. And you can see that I've cut this off and I've made it flat and flush with the rest of the plastic. And this allows the Ackerman to slide in here without any problems and not rub on anything. If you're wondering just how much you should cut off, you don't need a whole lot to go away. And so I've put that little line mark on the other side where I haven't cut it off to show you. Just right behind where that lump is, where it rounds off, that's where you want to start, and you basically want to go straight down. On the inner ones, you can leave the same curve, just take a tiny bit off of it. You generally won't get to here at all with any of the Ackerman stuff. But that will help make sure that you always have freely moving and proper steering that isn't going to bind up and isn't going to rub even when you have more droop than you can possibly run on the vehicle. Hope that helps. Have a good one.